was sitting here thinking, singing Janae Ways. If you haven't heard it, you need to go check it out. It's got a great message. Why aren't you smiling? Is what it means. Why aren't you smiling? Why aren't you smiling? Why aren't you smiling? If there's one thing that I learned while in those county lines, it's that everything takes time. You have got to lose your mind. Let's go, Janae. Oh, there go my homies. Oh, man. Hey, I don't know. Those of y'all, my nickname is Bird, right? My family. And I asked why one time. It was my auntie said she gave it to me because when I walked around, I was so pigeon-toed and bow-legged that I looked like I was waddling like a little bird. I think... Oh, wow, that is an interesting spot for a nest. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. That's the message. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Right on the power line, because ain't no trees out here. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do for your family. Ooh. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do for your family. Well, what does that mean, T? Because that's what I was sitting here thinking about. Because Janae asked, I do. She says she does it for her brother, like she does it for her brother. And I'm like, well, why do I do it? I ask myself, like, why do I keep going? And I said, for my family, it's the very first thing that I thought about, right? But we are very limited in what we call family and who we call family, because I have family all across this world, right? And we may not have the same DNA, but we are all connected. So whenever I meet somebody, to me, the vibe is there. That means my tribe is there. And so for me, if we have shared love and we have connected and we've shared experiences where there was love and laughter, then I consider you family. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean that family is always in communication. Just like any relationship that you get in, not even get in, any relationship that you engage in, because a relationship, you'll have a relationship with your best friend, you have a relationship with your mother, you have a relationship with your brother, sister, so on and so forth. Any relationship that you are engaged in, it takes work. Like you have co-worker relationships, you have a relationship with your boss. It takes work. Now, what is the work? What work does it take? It takes love. And if you can't love them, if you can't love people through who they are, for being who they are, then there's some internal work that you need to do. Okay, well, what's the internal work? Well, if somebody says something that's triggering to you, then you need to take a step back. It has nothing to do with them and what they said and why it made you mad or why it made you upset or why it hurt your feelings. It has everything to do with you, because they may say the same exact thing to another person and then not taking effect, right? So if it affects you or me, so say somebody says something to me and it triggers me, okay? Well, how do I know it triggers me? Well, your body, when your body gets triggered, it goes through a biological response. So have you ever been so mad that you get hot? Right? When you get mad, when you get pissed off, you feel it. Your body reacts chemically. I like to say biologically, but I guess it is chemical. I'm not sure exactly what is released. I'm gonna look it up. I used to know. Anyway, there's chemical reaction in your body, right? So you'll feel it physically. Either your voice will raise, your face, like when I get mad or somebody says something slick, my face scrunch up like this. So I know that whatever they said triggered me. It triggered me. So I have to take a step back and say, okay, why did I have this reaction? Right? Like, I cried on The Lion King, right? Don't tell nobody. But I cried on The Lion King when Mufasa died because I knew as a child what it and it's so funny because the first time I saw it, we watched it in, I think it was in 6th grade. I was in the 6th grade, and we were watching it in English class. And yeah, my friend was like, "Dude, you crying?" It triggered me, right? So I have to take a step back. When something or someone triggers me to the point where I react, my body physically reacts, then that's something that I need to heal within. It has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with you, right? So I love hogs. For instance, when tragedy happens, there has been tragedy that happened in my family where there was I wasn't triggered at all. Well, why wasn't I triggered? There was the connection wasn't there. But there has been tragedy in my life that has happened where, like, it triggered me to the point where I was like, you know, why am I here? if I have to experience pain like this, why? What is the purpose of having to experience pain like this? Right? Well, pain is the best teacher. All right? So whenever I was a college athlete, right? Whenever we were training and practicing, we went through they took us through a lot of uncomfortable shit, like stuff that I was like, I'm not gonna make it through this. Like, we gotta run another one? I'm not gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? And so, but in the end, we always rose above, right? You're always going to be okay. And that's what I am learning through this healing journey. And it wasn't just when my nephew passed away, tragic, it was tragic. When that happened, a lot of people probably look at me like, well, will she finally get over that? It wasn't just the tragedy. It's not just the tragedy. It triggered a lineage of tragedies that have occurred in my family, because my DNA is connected to tragedy. Like, if you look at my ancestral background, and I dove into it over the summer, if you look at my ancestral background, it's like tragedy after tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. Well, if that gets encoded into the DNA of my ancestors, it gets passed down. So when something like that happens, which is funny because my great uncle was shot and killed trying to take up for my grandmother. He was shot and killed in a juke joint, and in the heart, in the chest, right? My nephew, he was 25, I believe. Yeah, 25 whenever he was shot and killed. My nephew here recently, I didn't experience that, but my grandmother did. Right? Directly connected. And she went from being extremely brilliant to, like, what I remember about my grandmother is that she was in and out of mental institutions, and she had to come stay with us, and she had to take medicines, and having a conversation with her was hard sometimes because she couldn't put sentences together. So I always wondered why, what happened. Well, whenever I look into her, start asking questions, and I look into ancestry, she's experienced a lot of trauma. Watched her son get back to a man ran over her 2-year-old son with a truck, killed him. He died there. Like, I mean, it was just trauma after trauma. So now I'm like, oh, no wonder why I ain't had no kids. And I can pour love into other people's kids and not have to worry about their safety, right? I don't have to worry about their well-being. Because I can only imagine what it feels like to lose a child. I can't only imagine. I can't even fathom the pain. You know what I'm saying? So there's that trauma. Well, it gets connected, entwined into our DNA. That gets passed down. Well, there's my mom, trauma. Right? My dad, trauma. So that gets encoded into my DNA, and then here comes this little light being, little Tawana, little Wanna bird, and I want to raise the frequency of love in this world and just share it. Yet there's trauma encoded into my DNA. Well, whenever something like a tragedy happens, it'll trigger you. It'll trigger you to heal wounds that are deeply embedded in your DNA. lot of the trauma that we experience, it gets encoded into our DNA as a fear. So, fear of poverty, right? That's one of the big ones. It's a really big one. If you haven't listened to Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, I recommend you can listen to it on YouTube or you can get the book. But he talks about this. Poverty, the fear of poverty is an extremely powerful fear, and it's a fear that has been embedded and encoded into a lot of melanated lineages. Hence the reason why we can't rise above. When we come from a place of abundance, when we know that we are abundant, this world is abundant. Go sit and look at trees and look how abundant they are. Try to count the leaves of a tree. It's never ending. The needles of a pine tree, like, and it's so beautiful. They're so beautiful in their abundance, right? We're the same. We actually share this. We actually share DNA with trees. Our melanin is the green on their leaves. Okay, so as abundant as they are in just being, as abundant as we are in just being who we are. We don't have to not be who we are. Be who you are, gods and goddesses. Be exactly who you are. And don't let nobody make you feel some type of way for who you are. That be a job, that be a lover, that be a husband, that be your kids. When you hear stuff like, oh, you so extra, okay, I'll be that, because that's who I am. And if you don't like it, you can biggity bounce. You feel me? Yeah. These are and they're not Road Chronicles anymore because I don't have my road. These are Tahoe Chronicles. Tahoe Chronicles. Yeah. The girl got you. Feel me? Anyway, I am on my way back to Texas, leaving Arizona. I'm now in New Mexico, and y'all better wake up. They have for centuries, ages and eons, tried to take us away from nature, because whenever we are connected to nature, we are strong. So make sure that you are getting into nature. Hug a tree, go sit by a tree, talk to the tree, pray, say a prayer. Like, I'm not kidding. I'll go out there and I'll be like, you know what? Because here's the thing. This land that we live on, this world is millions and millions and millions and millions and millions. It has seen so much good, so much bad, so much trauma. Blood has soaked into the ground, and guess what the trees do with liquid? They absorb that. So they absorb that. So whenever I go and I sit in nature and I'm talking to trees, I'm like, you know what, beloved ancestors, because that's who bled on this land. This message is going to reach the right people. Beloved ancestors, I need your guidance. I got to make a decision, or I need to heal this, or there's this trauma that's sitting in me, or there's a relationship that I need guidance on.